Hello everyone! Today we are doing an artist block boot camp for the summertime. This is gonna get sweaty. It's already 84 degrees in here. In this video, I want to cover what is artist block, as well as a helpful and effective reading and research I've been doing to combat it while I've been working offline for the last 6 months. 6 months! So first of all, yes, I was off YouTube for the last 6 months, but I do not have artist block. I am ready, rolling, creating, and stoked to bring the good word of offline artistry back here to YouTube with some updates. Earlier this week, my friend, a photographer, Stacy Bueller, released episode 2 of her new podcast, All Over the Place, with me, where we talk about creativity, Snoop Dogg, and Homo sapiens. Stacy also did a photo shoot for me in 2018, and just again this year, which I'm slowly releasing photographs from on Instagram, so, you know, check things out there. Updates from Patreon later in this video, but a big thing that I want to tell you about, I wrote my first book and it is available for pre-order. I want to introduce you to my baby. This is Oil Painting Every Day, a step-by-step beginner's guide to painting the world around you. The book is what I like to think of as a beginner and beyond project-based painting book. It has 4 exercises in the beginning where you get acquainted with the tools and techniques, as well as a really informed, fast color mixing theory exercise. And then that all prepares you for the next 14 projects, which cover a huge range of subject matter: land, sea, sky, face. There's an outdoor field trip project. Pre-orders are essentially a huge deal to the success of a book and how well it pushes out to stores and internationally. So if you could do me a huge solid, you can pre-order it on Amazon. For domestic or international, it is also available for pre-order through all major book houses. It comes out for release January 4th, just in time for New Year's resolutions, so we can all become painters. Thank you so much to any of you who do pre-order it. And yes, that's it for the book promo. Because this is a researched video, I am going to be pulling from a script here and there. There you go. Artist block is often referenced as a time where people have inability to access their creativity or ability to produce new work. Is it real? Laziness? Illness? Regardless, many experience it, and it's frustrating, disheartening, and I think it's a good community topic worth discussing. I'm going to share personal experience, comments from Facebook and Instagram, but a huge resource that I'm going to be using for this is The Artist's Way, Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity by Julia Cameron, which actually was published the same year I was born, 1992. It is essentially a self-help book for guiding artistic people in creative recovery, and it's something I've really enjoyed working with for the last few months. While heading down the learning curve of writing my first book, I pushed through a season of reframing my thinking more positively to complete this major project. And this has been a good period for me to challenge my thoughts, blocks, self-destruction, and outdated moves generally. I don't know if you've had this, but big projects can bring up a lot of big emotions. To begin, a critical idea that Julia promoted to me was the idea that you should expect the possibility of being a healthy creative person. She shares her story of rising to success in her creative field and confronting a moment of decision whether she was going to be able to continue as a healthy creator or give up being a professional one altogether. So after that, she began recovery from a bad relationship with alcohol and set out a new intention toward health in her life and in creating. Setting this kind of bar, I think, is a critical mind frame to step into so you have the power of that possibility behind you. If you are struggling through blocks and unhealthy beliefs about your worth or potential, if you don't believe that in fact you can be a happy creative, how will you ever possibly meet that happy reality? And Stephen West philosophized this podcast. A recent episode, he discussed truth and pragmatism. I bring up this episode to prime you for a little open mind on how we're going to be discussing creativity. Pragmatism is the philosophical belief that truth can be determined by practical testing. West describes that the American philosopher William James would see a true statement as one that when you believe it and act as though it's true, there are good results. The episode gives the example of believing that cars exist being a good truth, because when you test the results of that, you have a positive consequence. Whereas if you walk into traffic, you would have a negative consequence. In the past, I've spent time going down very sad philosophical rabbit holes, a very big existential period of why do I exist, a nihilistic period of nothing matters, and I've gone through questioning whether free will is real, and just kind of facing the sad general realities of our world. Recently, I've heard it argued that depression and anxiety in people, which came up in my comments as part of artist block that people experience, that anxiety and depression aren't necessarily the affects of a person having an ungrounded mind, but maybe they're in fact just the affects of a certain lived experience and learned sense of reality. And maybe in periods like that, having a certain inability to engage in healthy mind frames of thinking. This idea comes from one of my favorite podcast hosts, Shankar Vedantam of Hidden Brain, and he was engaging in a discussion about his new book, which is titled Useful Delusions: The Power and Paradox of the Self-Deceiving Brain, in which he argues how self-deception can play a vital role in our success and well-being. He looks into the power of beliefs we hold, stories we tell, and how we can use our awareness of this force to positively impact our lives. Sometimes life is hard, and depression or anxiety become the natural effects of our body learning from difficult experience. It's important to accept and know your feelings because they teach you what you want. But in the face of your own self-doubts, pragmatism can be used to argue for the usefulness of believing in positive outcomes. A door to greater possibility begins to open as we let go of hard-held beliefs about our limitations and leave space for possibility that we can receive ideas, accomplish goals, and create in sustainable ways. If you don't believe you can do something, you probably won't do it. As part of building things like belief, hope, and faith into your relationship with creativity, Julia Cameron encourages creatives to learn to live in art comfortably and let go of the drama of being a suffering artist, warning that nothing dies harder than a bad idea. Artist blocks are things that get in the way of your creativity. Blocks are perpetuated in negative and self-defeating beliefs, so learning to notice those thoughts as they come up and sit with them is part of the uncomfortable process of making them much smaller and clearing them out. It's good to consider what things that have blocked your creativity in the past or sabotaged you, and what blocks do you personally grab for? Julia Cameron writes, ask yourself bluntly, what next step are you evading? It gets so hot, I have to take a break, it's so hot. A pretty noteworthy and unique part of the perspective that the Artist's Way brings to a conversation about artist block is the idea that creativity is spiritual, and blocks are things that you can work with by nurturing your relationship with your inner child artist, and also nurturing a relationship with larger creative source. Without personally attaching firm beliefs to God or spirit, I found a lot of benefit in ingesting the text's way of talking about these ideas on spirituality with an open mind, as Julia encourages. But she calls artists to forge a creative alliance, artist to artist, with the great creator, holding a belief that creativity is a free, flowing, and abundant gift. She believes a healing power comes from removing scarcity mentality, and also in telling God or universe or creative essence energy, you take care of the quality, I'll take care of the quantity. So while the skeptic in me was resistant to some of the language, I did feel gradual healing come to me in suspending some of my beliefs and judgment just to hold space for positivity and a general openness to receiving. Major blocks seem to dissolve when you leave space for this kind of a possibility in your life. According to Julia, in the practice of opening to ideas like this, the point is not just in believing it, it's in using it. Two very healing artist practices encouraged in Artist Way that I will mention are: one, daily artist morning pages, in which you let out information and feelings non-judgmentally, and this is meant to help you not block up or harm your creative spirit. This is a free writing exercise. It helps you get in touch with your thoughts, your blocks, any fears, negativity, and move them out. Secondly, planning and going on artist dates by yourself. Use the time to fill your creative well and get new input. Basically, Julia says when you create, you are sourcing out of your well, and so you need to seek out and cultivate experiences where you are refilling yourself with images and ideas, things to pull from in your art. Artist dates are a good time to use to get comfortable with yourself and celebrate that important relationship. A few quick speed points from the book. Discover and recover your creative powers through exercising open-mindedness. Gradually loosen hold on fixed opinions and short-sighted views that inhibit the flow of grace. A shadow artist resists bringing their dream to light for fear it will disintegrate before their eyes. Accept that it's your job to do the work, not judge the work. Creativity is a spiritual issue. Any progress is made by leaps of faith. As each good idea comes to us, we must remove our inner barriers to act on it and restore creative flow. Ask for answers in the evening, listen for answers in the morning. Recognize perfectionism as a refusal to let yourself move ahead. It is a self-defeating loop of becoming lost in details out of fear of mistakes. Question: what would I do if it didn't have to be perfect? The beginner's humility leads to exploration, curiosity, and discovery. Recovering from artist block is like making any commitment to increasing your health. Self-destruction can occur with the fear of having to constantly show up and be healthy. Learn to approve of yourself. It's easier to do than not do, to paint, write, create, than to not. If it honestly makes you happier to do creative things, for God's sake, do them. Thank you to everyone on my Facebook and Instagram who contributed to discussion on artist block. Some of the ones we'll go through are trying to work in a new medium. This is something I've been exploring in my own season of change while writing the book. I had to do a lot of academic painting, and so I got more into abstract mixed media collage, ukulele playing, and writing lyrics, and it was really sourceful for me. Gonna grow my hair back, had to cut it off. To get feedback. It's very good to just let out ideas and hear back from other people, so you're not just lost in your own universe about it. 3, release expectation. Loosen up and play. If you get overly bogged down with the rules or shoulds or perfectionism, that loop, a good way to end that is to just give yourself a break and make it more playful. 4, ride the lows and highs of emotional seasons in creative flow. In people talking about different issues they had with emotions regarding artist block, this I thought was a very good thing to think about, is the seasons of life that we go through and a willingness to lean into those seasons, whether you are withdrawing a little bit or really going into a certain kind of work. 5, ingest inspiration. Fill your well. Read. 6, break up overload and overwhelm by celebrating spontaneous inspiration. Love that. If you have a moment and you can just do some dancing, do some stretching, do a doodle, write out a song, I feel like there's a lot of creative saving in taking moments for that. And 7, show up and just make. I know this is like the be-all end-all of the artist block advice, but there's real truth to it, and I think that's why it comes up so much. Even if you don't see it as your most important, incredible work, by showing up to your relationship with your creativity and allowing it to change and grow and still loving it and nurturing it through that, you have a lot of possibility to see yourself through to new seasons and evolutions as an artist. It's important to change, grow, and evolve. I want to give a special thank you to my patrons who are always an incredible support to me. You can join us in our community for just $1 a month. You get access to the feed and our monthly art challenges. For $5 a month, you can join Zoom live streams. And a huge thank you to any of you who do decide to pre-order my book. It will make a huge difference, so thank you ahead of time. Check out the links in my description. Check out my social media. Subscribe to this channel, and I will be back regularly on the internet, so I hope to see you in the future soon in a video. And goodbye. It determines how well you want to make an appearance, a guest appearance. The sun.